Hello and welcome to the week ahead from the Financial Times in London. Here's what we'll be watching in the coming week. A frosty standoff between Turkey and Russia looks set to thaw. Early data will tell us what impact the Brexit vote is having on the UK economy. And what's deterring summer holiday makers. We'll find out how TUI, the world's largest tour operator, is coping with cautious travelers. But first, after a 7-month standoff, Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Russian President Vladimir Putin will hold talks this week to try to mend relations between the two countries. It's the first meeting between the two leaders since the G20 summit last November, shortly after which Turkey downed a Russian military aircraft that the Turkish military said had entered its airspace. One Russian pilot was killed in the incident, which prompted Moscow to suspend contact with Ankara and impose economic sanctions on Turkey. Mr. Putin will meet Mr. Erdogan in St. Petersburg, where they will discuss how to normalize economic ties. But the Kremlin has warned that it will take time to restore trust. The meeting will be closely watched by the West to see whether Turkey moves closer to Russia. Western criticism of Mr. Erdogan's crackdown following a failed military coup attempt last month has strained relations between Turkey and its NATO allies.
Batı burada teröre destek veriyor mu, vermiyor mu? Batı demokrasinin yanında mı, darbelerin yanında mı? Terörün yanında mı? Maalesef bu Batı teröre destek veriyor ve darbelerin yanında yer alıyor. 3 milyon Suriyeli ve Iraklı mülteciyi ülkemizde barındırmak suretiyle Avrupa'yı biz koruduk ya. Avrupa verdiği sözleri şu ana kadar tutmadı. Hala yerine getirmedi. Bakın bize bu yıl sonuna kadar 3 milyar avro bu parayı bize vermeyecek. Bizim bütçemize girmeyecek. Suriyeliler için, Iraklılar için harcanacak olan bu para ne yazık ki hala bize gelmiş değil.
Now to the UK, where economists and policymakers are closely watching indicators on how the economy is faring following the country's historic vote to leave the EU. On Tuesday, we'll have industrial production figures for June, which are likely to show a moderate slowing in growth for the sector. The data is expected to show growth of 1.4% year-on-year, down from 1.6% in May. The sharp depreciation of sterling since the vote, however, will not show up until the July data are released in about a month's time. But the Bank of England has already taken action to cushion any Brexit-induced downturn.
The Bank of England has judged that the hit from Brexit is so severe that it cannot wait for any more information to act. As such, it has immediately launched the biggest stimulus package since the financial crisis. First, it is cutting interest rates immediately to a new record low of 0.25%. Secondly, it's starting to buy bonds again, both government bonds and also corporate bonds. Thirdly, to stop the banks from having any excuse about why they can't pass this interest rate cut in full onto borrowers, both businesses and consumers, it's launched a new funding scheme for banks. And most importantly, it's also been clear that this could just be the start. If the downturn is more severe, or even if it proceeds as it expects, more action is coming.
And of course, other European countries are bracing for potential knock-on effects to their economies from the vote. An initial estimate of second quarter growth for Germany is out on Friday and is expected to show expansion of just 0.3% from the first quarter. And finally, how has a summer of terrorist-related shocks in Europe affected holidaymakers? Several recent attacks, including in Nice, Brussels, and Istanbul, have rattled travelers and even deterred visitors to Europe from places such as China and the US. We'll get an idea of how people's appetite for holidays has been dampened by recent atrocities when TUI, the world's largest tour operator, reports third quarter results on Thursday. Shares in the FTSE 100 company have already fallen 12% in the last year.
Investors in TUI will be looking for a glimmer of hope when the company reports its third quarter results on Thursday. The company has endured a tough 12 months with geopolitical events hitting demand for holidays. However, while TUI's share price has fallen, it has fared much better than its rival Thomas Cook, whose shares are down 50% in the last 12 months. This is predominantly because Thomas Cook is much more exposed to Europe than its rival TUI. Investors will also be looking to see how TUI's main business has performed, having sold off non-core divisions of its business in recent months.
And that's what the week ahead looks like from the Financial Times in London.